Top 5 things you need to know before you buy a manufactured home. Hi everybody, it's Andy G with the Emerald Group right here in beautiful Crestview, Florida. If you're interested in learning more about Crestview and the Emerald Coast in general, please go ahead and subscribe and don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss a video. One of the big questions I get when folks consider moving to Crestview and specifically to North Crestview is, should I consider buying a mobile home? The answer is maybe. But that's not a very helpful answer. So today we're going to talk about 5 things you should know about buying a mobile or manufactured home. Number 1, mobile versus manufactured. Now, these terms are used basically interchangeably, but a mobile home is not actually the same thing as a manufactured home. Mobile homes are pre-1976 builds and they are effectively uninsurable and unfinanceable. That's because prior to 1976, there was no uniform code. So these mobile homes were not built to a specific set of standards. So when considering a mobile home, we really want to look at the date. Buying a 1960s mobile home is really not like buying a 1960s traditional or stick-built house. Manufactured homes, on the other hand, were built to a uniform set of standards. They've been inspected, they have certifications from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and can be just as safe and sound as any other off-grade house, whether that's traditional or manufactured. See, a manufactured home isn't really mobile. Yes, it is manufactured in a place and then shipped in 2 or 3 or even 4 pieces, but then those pieces are basically permanently stuck together and stuck on the foundation. Once they are in place, they are not designed to be taken back apart and moved anywhere else. It's just not something you're supposed to do. So that's mobile versus manufactured. Let's move on to point 2, manufactured versus stick-built. So when I say stick-built, that just means what you think of when you build a house. There's a foundation and then the 2x4s or 2x6s go up, a traditional house, just to define the terms. So if you're thinking about stick-built versus manufactured in the Emerald Coast area, something to be aware of is that most cities and towns around here just simply no longer allow manufactured homes to be built within city limits. But if you're looking to live in a more rural area, you can usually put either kind of house. In fact, many of the places that folks are interested in North Crestview are really out there, and it can actually be difficult to get a contractor to stick build you a house. So in some cases, getting a manufactured home is actually more cost effective and faster to actually get your home in place. But there are downsides. While you can personalize a manufactured home with finishes and colors and certain fixtures, they are by no means a custom build. If you have a specific vision for how you want your house to look, if the idea of a rectangular box of a house just doesn't appeal to you, then you're probably going to want to look at a custom or at least semi-custom build. Even in working with a builder that has set floor plans, you're going to have more options. You can have a second story on your house. You could have an attached garage, and there's a much wider variety of layouts. In addition, there are materials like brick and stucco and stone that you can have on a traditional house that are just impractical to impossible to have on a manufactured home. Now let's move on to number 3, new or previously owned. Let's say you've decided you are going to buy a manufactured home. Do you want to get a new one, or do you want to get one that's privately owned and formerly occupied? Well, there are advantages and disadvantages to both. If you get a previously owned home, then it's already done. The land is there, the utilities are there, the house is delivered, set in place, you're good to go. It's a very normal closing process. However, the disadvantage, of course, is that the house is used. Now, that may be a larger issue for some people than it would be with a stick-built house. Now, with a brand new manufactured home, you're going to have all of the options of customization that that particular builder allows, and it's going to be brand new. So that's great, but you do have the added expense of purchasing the land and having the utilities run/installed. That can be a daunting task for some people, but it does give you more freedom. You get to decide where the land is, yours, and then where the house goes on that land, you know, within limitations, you get to decide what utilities you want to run. Sometimes there are options of septic versus sewage, well versus municipal water, electricity and gas. Lots of choices, lots of freedom. But again, that can be sort of scary if this is new to you. Speaking of scary, number 4, value and appreciation. Because manufactured homes have really only been a thing since 1976, there's only about 35 years worth of precedent for how those homes are going to retain their value and appreciate. While we all know traditional home values are trending way up, manufactured homes are not appreciating as much or as well. Now, there's always exceptions to that. This year, I had clients who sold their home for roughly 170% of what they bought it for 5 or 6 years ago. So again, exceptions to every rule. Now, me personally, my own opinion only, I think that because we have such a high demand for homes in general, I think that the difference between manufactured and stick-built is going to be less and less of a concern. But that is just my opinion. And there's a stigma attached to manufactured homes. A 1950s little bungalow would be described as cute or charming, whereas a 1990s manufactured home might just be called dated. And we all know that being dated can affect the value of your home. And that brings me to my last one, number 5, remodeling and renovating. Anybody who watches those home remodeling shows knows what you can do to a traditional house. You can move walls, you can install beams, you can just go nuts. We've all seen where they've taken the kitchen and put it where the master bedroom was and put the master bedroom where the dining room. All those kinds of things are options in a traditional home. We've seen carpet get pulled back to reveal beautiful hardwoods. We've seen facelifts on the front of houses. These are not things you can do to a manufactured house. Manufactured homes are just not designed with remodeling in mind. Now, most of the manufactured homes I've been in, they use space extremely efficiently and they have pretty classic designs that will stand the test of time for most owners. However, they are just never going to be as reworkable, as customizable as a stick-built house is. Just to wrap this up, I think both manufactured homes and traditional homes both have a place. I think they're both great options depending on where you want to live, how you want to live, what's important to you. All of these factors go into making that decision. So I hope this has been interesting and informative, and thank you for sticking with me to the end. If you enjoyed yourself, please do all of those things I always ask you to do. Click the like button, subscribe, click the notification bell, leave a comment, and if you're interested in learning more in moving down here, please go ahead and send me a message, call me, send me an email, find me on Facebook, whatever works for you, and let me have a chance to make my hometown your hometown. Have a great day.